Okay, so are you ready to dive into some Marvel magic?
Always up for that.
Because you guys requested a deep dive on Agatha Harkness.
Oh, a fun one.
And we've got stacks of comics appearances, even some handbook entries to really get into it.
Color me intrigued.
Because we're gonna uncover why she's, well, honestly, way more than just Wanda's magic teacher.
Right.
Or Franklin Richards' babysitter, for that matter.
Yeah, that's right. And I have to admit, even I was surprised by how much history there is to unpack, with Agatha. We're talking about, like, centuries. This character has been around, popping up in some of the most significant events in Marvel history.
It's wild, right? Because, everyone knows Agatha Harkness. She's the powerful witch, trained Scarlet Witch. But then, when you go back and you look at her first appearances, say in like 1970s Silver Surfer comics, she's almost unrecognizable.
It's like, what?
Who is this?
That's what makes this deep dive so fascinating. Visually, she's gone from, like, a kindly, eccentric, older woman to someone much more modern looking.
Yeah.
Even her costume got a really nice stylish update, which I'm sure you noticed if you watched WandaVision.
For sure.
Clearly, the creatives at Marvel have been playing the long game with this character.
Oh, absolutely. And that evolution, from her look to her role in different stories, it's like there's this complexity that goes way beyond just those initial appearances.
Totally.
It's like Agatha herself is one giant magic spell, just full of hidden depths and unexpected consequences.
And speaking of hidden depths, her past it's way more extensive than I think a lot of people realize.
Yeah.
Because we're not just talking about, a few decades here, but centuries. Our sources trace her back to ancient times with involvement in all sorts of key historical moments, even the Salem witch trials.
Wait, Salem? As in that Salem?
That's Salem.
Like she was there when they were burning witches at the stake.
She was not only there, she was a major player in it.
Oh, wow.
In fact, there's a particularly chilling incident involving a young Firestar that really highlights Agatha's, let's call it pragmatism, during that era. It's a side of her that we're going to see again, but in a more nuanced way as she, kind of evolves.
Wow, that's intense. So it makes you wonder, like, how does someone go from that kind of ruthlessness to mentoring someone like Wanda Maximoff, years later, talking about a career change?
Right.
So I guess we're talking centuries. It's more like a Tuesday for Agatha Harkness.
Yeah, she's been around the block.
Didn't she also help the Daughters of Liberty, too?
She did.
This woman has had some incredible cameos.
It's not just cameos, though. While she might pop in and out of different series, her impact is lasting.
Oh, for sure.
Take her involvement with the Fantastic Four, for example.
Yeah.
She's a recurring figure from Fantastic Four issues #94 to #150, often acting as their protector against mystical threats. And it's through them that we get a glimpse of perhaps the most tumultuous relationship in her very long life. The one with her son, Nicholas Scratch.
Ooh, yeah, Nicholas Scratch. Didn't he tried to overthrow her or something, right?
He did.
Like family drama on a mystical scale.
Yeah. To kind of set the stage, Agatha, hoping to create a safe haven for magic users, she founded New Salem, which was this hidden community of witches and warlocks. But Nicholas, he believed that humans and magic users could never coexist peacefully. He felt she was being too accommodating.
That's putting it mildly. I feel like he was a little more intense than that.
A little.
Didn't he manipulate New Salem into thinking that Agatha betrayed them?
He did.
And not just New Salem, but the Fantastic Four, too?
That's right.
He framed Agatha for trying to, destroy the world.
Tried to destroy the world.
Oh my gosh, leading to this whole big confrontation that nearly tore the Fantastic Four apart.
Big time.
Wow, talk about your manipulative supervillains.
Yeah.
What happened to him in the end?
Let's just say he ended up banished to another dimension. And Agatha learned a very hard lesson about the dangers of family ties. And this whole saga with Nicholas Scratch really, I think, shapes how she approaches mentorship later on, particularly with Wanda.
It's like, when you think about it, Agatha's relationship with Nicholas Scratch, it's like this weird mirror image of her relationship with Wanda.
Yeah.
They're both powerful magic users that she tries to guide, but with, obviously very different outcomes.
That's a really good observation. And while the details might be different, the emotional stakes are just as high. Remember, Agatha doesn't just take Wanda under her wing. She senses this enormous, almost chaotic potential in her. It's like she sees a reflection of herself in Wanda, but also a chance to maybe guide that power down a different path than she herself went down.
And for a while, it seems like their mentor-student relationship is genuinely positive.
Yeah.
Like, we see Agatha helping Wanda control her powers, offering advice, even stepping in to protect her from threats like the Salem 7.
Oh, right.
Remember those kids of her old rivals who tried to, like, get revenge?
Yeah.
But even then, there's this sense that Agatha is, like, holding back a little.
Right.
Like she's manipulating events from the shadows a bit.
It's true.
And it kind of comes to a head during I think one of the most controversial moments in their shared history, when Agatha wipes Wanda's memories of her children.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have to talk about this, right? Because on the surface, it seems unbelievably cruel.
Oh, yeah.
Like erasing someone's children from their mind. What are you doing? But then you dig a little deeper and you're like, oh, Mephisto's involved.
Right.
Basically, Marvel's version of the devil.
Right.
And then things get even more complicated.
It does get a little more complicated. And it's true. Mephisto had actually absorbed Wanda's children into himself. And Agatha, believing that the pain of remembering would destroy Wanda, she took drastic measures.
Right.
Was it the right call?
Yeah.
Debatable.
Yeah, very much so.
But it speaks to Agatha's willingness to make the hard choices, even if it means taking on a more morally gray role.
Yeah, and this complexity, I think, is what makes her such a compelling character, because she's not purely good or evil. She's driven by this desire to protect magic itself, even if it means making decisions that others might find, questionable at best. And let's not forget, she pays a price for those choices. Agatha dies several times throughout her history.
Right.
And in one particularly unsettling, I think, turn of events, Wanda is actually responsible for one of those deaths.
She is.
It's like their relationship is this constantly shifting power dynamic with moments of like genuine affection, but then punctuated by betrayal and death resurrection.
Right.
Just your average Wednesday brunch with friends.
Exactly.
Seriously, do they ever manage to patch things up after, all of that?
Their bond is complicated, to say the least.
Yeah.
But there's a moment shortly after Agatha's resurrection where she has a vision of a terrifying future.
Okay.
She sees Vision covered in blood standing over the fallen Avengers.
Oh, wow.
This vision and her attempt to warn the team leads to a whole new set of problems.
So does it come true?
It does. Oh, it does.
Because that's some seriously dark foreshadowing.
It was, but it turned out that Virginia, Vision's wife at the time, was being manipulated, and her powers accidentally tapped into that same horrifying future that Agatha had seen.
Oh, wow.
But instead of bringing everyone together to prevent this tragedy, Agatha's warning kind of had the opposite effect.
Oh, no.
It created this wave of suspicion and fear, ultimately contributing to the very events she was trying to prevent.
Talk about irony.
I know.
Tries to do the right thing, warns everyone about impending doom, and it just backfires spectacularly. It really highlights that for all her power and experience, Agatha's still capable of making mistakes.
Oh, really?
And those mistakes, as we've seen, often have devastating consequences.
For sure. But even when she's reeling from failure, she always seems to land on her feet.
Of course. She's Agatha Harkness.
Exactly. In her more recent appearances, we actually see her taking on a new role. Teacher at Strange Academy.
Wait, really? From centuries-old sorceress to Professor Harkness, grading homework, giving lectures on responsible enchantment use.
That's right.
That's quite the career change. Although, I guess when you've lived as long as Agatha has, you've probably dabbled in every profession imaginable at some point.
Probably.
What kind of teacher do you think she is?
I feel like she's a firm but fair instructor.
Yeah.
Demanding, but with like a dry wit.
Right.
And obviously a deep, deep well of knowledge to draw from.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't want to be the student who tries to cheat in her class.
No. Especially since she has history with some of the students' parents.
A little bit of history there.
But wait, seriously, is she teaching alongside Professor Xavier now? Because that would be amazing.
Not quite Xavier, but remember those Salem 7 kids we talked about earlier?
Yes.
Their mother, Karina, she's back with a vengeance, calling herself Corrosion.
Hold on, rewind. Corrosion. Like corrosion, but with a K.
With a K.
Okay.
Corrosion.
That's oddly specific.
It's a fitting name, considering her powers revolve around decay and disintegration.
Oh, okay.
She's a formidable opponent,
yeah,
even for Agatha. And this time, it's personal.
So what happens? Does Agatha school her former rival in the art of magical combat?
It is a showdown for the ages,
Oh, nice.
with echoes of their past woven into every spellcast.
Yeah.
Ultimately, Agatha and the descendants of her former coven have to team up to stop Corrosion from destroying, well, everything. There's a massive magical explosion. And when the dust settles, Agatha is nowhere to be found.
Classic Agatha.
Right.
Always want to make a dramatic exit, but come on, we both know she can't stay hidden forever.
You're right about that.
Yeah.
Agatha Harkness is a force of nature, impossible to contain for long.
Right.
And her latest scheme is perhaps her most audacious yet.
Uh-oh.
She's attempting to create a brand new Darkhold.
Whoa, hold on. The Darkhold.
The Darkhold.
As in that ancient book of forbidden magic and, like, ultimate evil.
That one.
The one that's caused, like, countless problems for everyone from Doctor Strange to the Avenger.
All of them.
She's making a sequel.
She's upping the ante. This isn't just about replicating the original Darkhold, though. She's not content with just having access to that kind of power. She wants to imbue someone with it, mold them into just something else entirely.
Okay, now that is playing with fire.
A little bit.
Who's the lucky winner of this chaos lottery?
Right.
You know, besides whoever has to clean up the magical fallout afterward.
Exactly.
So we've got Agatha, like, up to her pointy hat in chaos magic.
It's true.
Trying to create a new Darkhold and find someone worthy of wielding its power. It's like she's hosting her own, like, twisted version of the Sorcerer's Apprentice. But instead of Mickey Mouse, she's got, well, whoever's unlucky enough to be on her short list.
And believe me, the list of potential candidates is enough to make even Dr. Strange nervous. We're talking about heavy hitters here. Wolverine, Storm, even the Human Torch.
Wow.
She rounds them all up, throws them into this mystical battle royale, basically using them as magical guinea pigs to test out her new Darkhold creation.
Okay, first off, rude.
Yeah.
Secondly, why go through all that trouble? Like, if she wanted someone with a connection to chaos magic, wouldn't Wanda be, like, the obvious choice?
Right.
They've got history, shared trauma, a wardrobe that could rival a whole season of Project Runway.
Right. And that's what's so fascinating about Agatha's plan. She's not just looking for someone powerful.
Right.
Or someone she can, like, easily manipulate.
Yeah.
She's looking for something.
No.
Remember that quote we pulled from the official handbook, the
Yeah.
most powerful witch in all of New Salem?
Right, which implies that there are other contenders out there, ones we might not even, like, know about yet.
Exactly. Agatha's always been playing the long game.
Right.
But this feels different. It's like she's preparing for something big, something that goes beyond, like, even the Avengers or the fate of the world. And she needs a champion, someone who can wield the Darkhold power in ways we can't even imagine.
Okay, I'm getting chills here.
Yeah.
So what happens? Does she find her chaos champion among these, like, captured heroes?
Well, just as the ritual reaches its climax with magic crackling through the air and these poor heroes barely able to stand, who shows up but Clea, and she is not happy.
Let me guess, she's got a strongly worded letter from the Sorcerer Supreme's office about unauthorized use of dangerous artifacts.
Let's just say Clea is not afraid to take matters into her own hands.
Yeah.
Especially when someone's messing with forces that could, you know, unravel reality itself.
Yeah.
The battle that ensues is epic, to say the least. Imagine two grandmasters playing a game of chess, but instead of pawns and rooks, they're wielding spells that could shatter galaxies.
Talk about a power move, but Agatha's got a plan for everything, right? Did she at least manage to create this new Darkhold before Clea could, like, stop her?
This is where things take an unexpected turn. The Avengers, always fashionably late to the magical apocalypse party,
Oh, no.
show up just as Agatha's ritual is reaching its peak.
Talk about bad timing. They forgot to RSVP, I bet. So what happens? Mass chaos. Another dimension-hopping field trip.
Not quite. You see, the combination of Clea's intervention, the Avengers' arrival, and Agatha's own, you know, relentless ambition, it creates an imbalance.
Uh-oh.
The ritual backfires, the magic surges out of control, and Agatha is left stranded, clinging to a piece of driftwood on some deserted beach.
Okay, I've been to those company retreats.
Right.
The wifey is terrible.
Worst.
But seriously, stranded. No backup plan this time. No, like, sassy quip and a puff of purple smoke.
Remember how Agatha was so focused on finding someone worthy of the Darkhold's power? Someone who could handle its chaos magic?
Yeah.
Well, as she sits there on that beach, defeated and soaking wet, a young boy approaches. And this boy, he's not just drawn to Agatha, he's connected to her.
Please tell me she didn't accidentally create, like, a magical toddler army, because if I've learned anything from the comics, it's that pint-sized versions of powerful beings are adorable but terrifying.
This isn't quite the power pack, but it's definitely a twist no one saw coming.
Okay.
You see, this young boy, he's the Darkhold.
Well,
not a book, not an object, but a living, breathing embodiment of the chaos magic Agatha was trying to harness.
whoa. Okay, that's not just a twist. That's a whole narrative. Nosedive into the unknown. And talk about your unexpected consequences. This kid is going to need more than a juice box and a timeout when those teenage angst years hit.
Right.
Oh, man.
And so our deep dive into Agatha Harkness comes to an end. We've seen her journey through centuries, witnessed her triumphs and her tragedies, and uncovered a depth to this character that goes way beyond, the stereotypical evil witch trope.
Right. She's a sorceress, a mentor, a manipulator, a survivor. And as we've seen, she's not afraid to break a few cosmic eggs to make a chaotic omelet.
That's a good way to put it.
But what does this all mean? What happens next now that Agatha is no longer in control of the very power she sought to wield?
That, my friend, is the question we leave you with. If Agatha Harkness has taught us anything, it's that magic, like life, is full of unexpected twists and turns. And sometimes, the most dangerous spells are the ones we cast upon ourselves.
Ooh, I like that. If you're as eager as we are to see what Agatha does next, or if you have theories about this mysterious young boy and his connection to the Darkhold, drop a comment below. We want to hear your thoughts. And if you're enjoying this deep dive into the Marvel Universe, make sure to subscribe, because we'll be back soon with another fascinating character exploration. Until then, keep exploring those hidden depths.